What's going on, fellow A-Plusters? It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new video for you guys today, as we're going to be diving into some brand new trailers that we wind up getting earlier on today and as of yesterday evening, if I'm not mistaken. I know, unfortunately, we did not have the opportunity to have ourselves an episode of A-Plus Hero Report this past weekend. I was going to go ahead and do a full episode of Hero Report as of tonight, but I decided, you know what? Listen, we got ourselves two great trailers that wind up dropping. Let's go ahead and talk about it. And if anything, maybe me and Stuart will tackle also some other news that wind up dropping throughout the day. So yeah, maybe a little impromptu episode of Hero Report for you guys on a Monday evening. So it's always good to see each and every one of you guys again. Sorry we didn't have a show this past weekend, man. Sometimes it just gets really difficult to find a babysitter. And honestly, my brains was just in the clouds because it was WrestleMania weekend. So my thoughts were surrounding wrestling, to certainly say the least. But regardless, we are in fact back. That's right, myself and good old Stuart Branscombe. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. How was WrestleMania?
Well, to be quite honest with you, night one we watched it. So I had a meeting Saturday evening. When I came back home, we decided to start watching night one. We got through about maybe half of it. And in the process of me like pausing and wanting to kind of go back and search, I accidentally kicked us out of it. And then I was not able to get back into it because I had to wait for the replay
Oh no.
to go ahead and drop. I'm so used to it like processing right after it airs. But we had to wait till like midnight, and by that time we were just over it. So Sunday I managed to finish night one, but believe it or not, Stuart, I have not even watched any of night two as of yet. So that is on the list to finish off tonight. I'm glad I've avoided spoilers all day. So I don't know how WrestleMania Night 2 went, but I'm super excited and pumped to certainly check it out. So a lot of wrestling on the brain, but we're going to be talking some trailers today. Stuart, look, we got two major trailers, man. Let's start and talk about what I thought was probably the best out of the two, and that's no knock on against the other one, but what really got me hyped, Blue Beetle, the upcoming DC project. We unfortunately know that, who knows what's going to happen when it comes to the DCU in the future, but if anything, Blue Beetle is certainly looking great. And I believe James Gunn has mentioned the idea that, look, if this movie is successful, they certainly can go ahead and maybe bring him into the fold. But let's go ahead and start talking about this trailer, man. I'll start with you first. What did you think?
Absolutely fantastic. A lot of people were kind of worried when it came to the suit. I noticed because they thought like it didn't look too good, but like I thought it looked just fine on its own from the photos that we got of it behind the scenes. And seeing it in the trailer, I think it looks absolutely fantastic, which is what I kind of thought. Because a lot of times we see these suits without like, the filters, without like, we see it on a camera that it's not meant to be seen on. And then when we look at it, like on the type of camera it's supposed to be seen on, when we look at it with the right filters, when it's ready to go, it looks, almost like a completely different suit. And that's what I think, looking at this Blue Beetle outfit, I think the costume is absolutely amazing. I love who we got as Blue Beetle because he was absolutely amazing in Cobra Kai, and I love seeing him kind of move up now. Moving on to the superhero genre. I really look forward to seeing how he's gonna, pull off being Jaime Reyes. So far, from everything we've seen in the trailer, it looks like he's going to do a fantastic job, and it looks like it has that perfect balance of action and comedy that we've come to love and expect really when it comes to these kind of movies. Oh, I think you're muted.
I got these loud ass dogs barking in my background, man. I'm trying to get my girlfriend to shut them the fuck up, but they just keep barking. They're so fucking annoying. I swear to God, like I cannot stand these dogs sometimes. Uh, I'm sorry, Stuart. I honestly heard nothing of what you said, bro. I didn't mean to be rude like that, but those fucking dogs are just driving me crazy. I'm trying to text my girlfriend in the middle of this. Please go on, continue. I'm sorry. What did you say again, Stuart? I'm so sorry, man.
Oh, basically, awesome visual effects, especially when it comes to the suit. I think Jolo is going to be doing an amazing job as Jaime Reyes, and yeah, overall, it's got like that perfect balance of action and comedy that we've kind of come to expect from these superhero movies. But it looks like it's going to be done really well here as well. So I'm excited. I thought this was an extremely solid first trailer.
Yeah, I thought so too, honestly. I was really hella surprised. I didn't know what type of tone they were going to set or what this movie was going to be like at all. I mean, literally, the only thing I knew about the Blue Beetle movie was just what we had seen from like set photos in the past. So for this to truly be kind of like my first look at the trailer, I'm like you, man. I was really pumped for this. I think Jolo, I even put up some photos here. So we'll go ahead and put up some photos as we talk too. Jolo definitely looks the part. Honestly, I'm already loving kind of the family dynamic that they have sort of established. Some great supporting characters. George Lopez, I think you can't go wrong with that man in regards to like comedy. He definitely had some fantastic moments in this trailer alone. But I do think, just the idea of Jolo being from Cobra Kai, I think will certainly benefit general audiences that might recognize him from the Cobra Kai Netflix series coming aboard. But also just based off of his his work that he's done. I'm sure he probably is capable of doing some of his own fight sequences and things like that just from his training and his background. I think Joel is going to be a freaking star in this movie, to be perfectly honest with you, man. The visuals were definitely there for me. I think the suit looks pretty good, honestly. Soundtrack pretty good also. It looks like it's a fun film. I don't know exactly what the story is certainly going to be about, but like you mentioned, visually, everything looks pretty good, man. And it definitely gets me excited and to see not only this Blue Beetle movie, but again, if people actually go out and see this film, the possibility of James Gunn continuing to use Jolo as Jaime Reyes, I think could be a lot of fun if certainly utilized really well. I will say a couple of scenes in here that really jumped out to me, Stuart. The first time that the scarab attaches himself, I thought that was actually visually kind of pretty freaking frightening, honestly. I think they did a pretty good job of showcasing like the symbiotic aspect of him, if you will. Seeing it like burn off his clothes and then kind of like attach itself to his body. Same thing with like his shoes, his around his face and things like that. And then before he winds up actually getting into his Blue Beetle suit in general. What did you think about that sequence? Just the, if you will, the henshin or the morphing sequence. What do you think about it?
I'm so glad you refer to it as like the henshin or morphing sequence because, like, in my notes, I wrote down Common Rider vibes
Yes.
because of this suit and because of just the fight scenes that we get with the suit. But yeah, I think this first like transformation sequence that we get with it, looks very intriguing. I was very surprised to see it like happen in front of his family, in front of like everyone.
Hmm.
Because in the comic books, Blue Beetle is one of those rare teenage superheroes that actually doesn't keep his secret identity a secret from his family. Like his family is in on it,
Oh, okay.
but that's because he like tells them about it. It wasn't because like they were there when he got the powers. So it's kind of interesting seeing here that it's like it's less about him choosing to tell his family, more like, well, you can't really keep it a secret because they kind of see it happen to you, in this case.
Yeah, and I just should be definitely change up the dynamic with your family knowing instead of you necessarily telling them. So I am kind of curious to see how his family will react, knowing just sort of right off the bat. But you mentioned Common Rider. For some reason, I still go to like Guyver from back in the day. But I think Common Riders are great comparison also. But yeah, for some reason, Guyver just comes to mind, especially the concept and idea of it being an alien symbiote. It looked as violent as the Guyver attaching itself to Jaime here. But look, I'm the reason why I wanted to also have you on here, Stuart, is Blue Beetle for me has always been Ted Cord. I miss the ship of Jaime Reyes kind of taking over Blue Beetle and his time sort of like in Young Justice and things like that, right? So you're much more familiar with this character, or at least what he's capable of doing than I am. But honestly, I don't think I even realized that he has the ability to literally create any weapon that he certainly wants to. And so when we get to the end of this trailer, when my guy literally creates the Cloud Sword from Final Fantasy VII, I literally almost shit my pants. I just thought that is the coolest thing I have ever seen one of these suits do, man. Eat your heart out, Iron Man. I thought this was an awesome clip towards the end. And again, I think also to show some of Jolo's sort of martial arts expertise with flipping that sword around and things like that. But regardless, I thought this was a really dope sequence. What did you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, one cool sword, awesome. Another cool sword, cool. Oh my god, those two cool swords combined into one giant omega awesome sword. Nice. Yeah, absolutely thought that was a fantastic.
Yeah, and a couple of little things that jumped out at me that I'm actually kind of really impressed with, and I want to know what your thoughts of the heads-up display. What did you think about the design? I'm kind of on the fence of it, but it definitely has that sort of alien tech vibe behind it. But how do you like the heads-up display?
Yeah, intriguing. Not what I would have gone with if I was directing the movie, but well, it might grow on me when I actually see the movie itself.
No, I totally agree. Oh, and I was talking to my friend Jonathan. The Scarab's voice, he kind of compares it to like Friday from the Iron Man suit and things like that. He wasn't necessarily the biggest fan. I am kind of curious if at some point in time the Scarab voice might change, or if he might actually have somebody else's voice take over, because it feels very like AI in the beginning when you hear it here. Any chances? Like, I don't know if he changes it in the comic book at all, but do you know anything about it?
Nah, the because like in the comic books, I don't think they ever specify what the voice sounds like. So
Okay,
the only
okay,
reference I have for the voice is from the cartoon Young Justice, and in that, yeah, it was definitely a different type of voice than what they
okay.
went with here. And I feel like the voice in the comic books had more personality, just with how much it would communicate with Jaime Reyes, whereas here it kind of feels like. It feels like you mentioned AI, and that's like kind of the weird part about it is that it feels more like an interface and less like another like personality, which is
Personality. Well,
how it was
she
portrayed in the comic books.
she does mention when he forms a sword, like nice choice, like
That
nice
is
choice of weapon.
true.
So there might be some hint of personality. So I will be curious to see, like, if she is she the type that talks back, is she just the overly supportive type? Like, I'm just really kind of curious to see what the personality of the Scarab voice is. But again, for somebody that's coming into this as pretty cold in regards to the Jaime Reyes character, just learning about it, the idea of it being an alien symbiote, it's referred to as like an earth destroyer, like a planet destroying weapon type of thing, and talk about the idea that it protects its host sort of at all costs, and that sometimes it does listen to you and sometimes it doesn't. That sounds like it could be pretty interesting and some pretty fun interactions between Jaime along with the Scarab. Two other things that I did want to bring up from this trailer: the Blue Beetle mobile. I don't know what you want to call it. The Blue Beetle jet. I have no idea. I get, outside of just finally bringing this ship to life from the comic books. For some reason, when I see it, I immediately went to the owl ship from Watchmen.
Yeah, I was thinking the
Um,
exact same thing.
but I love the design, and I always love the Blue Beetle ship in the comics. So the fact that they're bringing that to life, I got to assume he stole this from Ted Cord. I'm sure Ted is going to be pretty pissed. But I absolutely love seeing this finally brought to life and realized.
And that's what kind of leads me to like the biggest mystery in this movie with Ted Cord, because we see Cord
Mm.
Industries in here, but as far as I know, we still haven't been introduced to an actor that's going to be playing Ted Cord, but we do have an actress who's going to be playing. Let me check real quick. Victoria Cord. And she looks like she could be the same age as Ted Cord, which kind of like
Mhm.
leads me to the idea that it's because I don't think Ted Cord had a wife in the comic books. Definitely correct me if I'm wrong there. So this could be a new character and also could be one of the main villains of the movie, because you had that one scene where she was just like,
Ah,
"What you
yes.
have is mine,"
Okay.
and it makes me
Because
kind
it
of
chose
wonder.
you, type of thing.
Yeah, it chose you, but it's mine.
Mhm.
And it makes me wonder if
Hmm.
she killed Ted Cord. Like, if maybe,
Mm.
like, yeah, she basically tricked Ted Cord into marrying her so she could kill him and take all his things or something like that.
That
It'd
feels
be a
like
bit
some
cliche, but I don't know.
I was about to say that sounds like some Final Crisis shit, man. Like a mystery, superhero mystery death needs to be solved, sort of thing. You bring up a good question though in regards to, like, is Ted Cord even going to pop up in here? Will we see him at any point, or maybe the legacy that he left behind? And the only reason why I also add on top of what you stated is because there is a shot in this trailer where in the background you literally get to see the lineage of the Blue Beetle suits. You actually see the blue and red costume comes from the Golden Age Blue Beetle, Dan Garrett. And then right beside him in the middle there is, in fact, sort of that Silver Age, even I guess a little modern age Blue Beetle that would have technically been Ted Kord's outfit. So some great little Easter eggs that they post in here. So we got the Ted Kord Blue Beetle suit. We got the Ted Kord Blue Beetle ship. Maybe there was a Ted Kord Blue Beetle legacy that who knows what his wife might have done to him. But I do think you bring up a good question as to what Ted Kord's legacy in this movie is going to be like.
I do really hope that the Blue Beetle existed before this version of the Blue Beetle in this universe, so that, like, in case, like, sometime in the future, if we want to explore the past of the DC universe, that door is still open, that we could get, like, a potential Blue Beetle spinoff. Or that, this is what I personally would love to see. I kind of want the Ted Kord Blue Beetle to be a character in the upcoming Booster Gold TV series on HBO Max. So I feel like if you have it so Ted Kord, did exist at some point as the Blue Beetle, that could be the way they do it.
Yeah, maybe, who knows? Maybe we get ourselves a cool little mid-credit, post-credit scene or something like that of Ted Kord returning mysteriously. Who knows? I'm really curious to see how this plays itself out. But first impressions, man, I think this is a win. I feel like, look, I went to go watch the trailer again. This trailer dropped today, and it's already got like over 2 million views. So I think that speaks volumes in regards to how the general audience is really loving this, and a lot of people are certainly putting their eyes on it. And for me, it's just really a sort of a fun dynamic to kind of see just the idea of like a Hispanic family sort of having to deal with just similar to what we did with like Miss Marvel, right? Seeing like their cultural differences and the idea of a superhero being in their family. Like there is something really fun, I think, that can come out of the idea of like this Hispanic family with Jaime Reyes being a superhero. So I'm really looking forward to it, because I think George Lopez certainly delivered on some of the laughs. And even in this shot, he's like, "Oh, that's just my family. They don't get out much." Just them rooting him on and stuff. I just, very great first impression, if you ask me.
I also love that first shot when we get him with the glasses, kind of like looking at the sunset. Like, yeah, like that one right there. Like we think, oh wait, is this guy rich or something? And then it cuts away. And you're just like, oh no, he's just working at what do you call it? Like one of
like
those
a resort
country clubs or something.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those resorts or country clubs. But yeah, guys, Blue Beetle dropped its first trailer. If you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, please go ahead and do yourselves a favor, as the Cobra Kai star Jolo Maradona will in fact be playing Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle. And look, I think this is a great opportunity to, again, take one of those B level characters and really hopefully making them shine into big stars to maybe hopefully carry the DCU certainly going forward. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts about Blue Beetle in the comment section box below. Let's see if there's any questions that we got. Shout out to Blossom for certainly coming through. We got Dino Knights. What's up, AJ? Adam Perea in here also. Nicole Robertson. What's up, Nicole? We got Ram Jam in the house. The most talented man on the planet. Abase is certainly here today. Kurt Marino certainly joining us. He says, just saw the trailer and wow, I had such a fun time, I would assume. Super looking forward to this movie. Yeah, you and me too, Kurt. And I'm just hoping that there aren't any, some fans that want to, I'm just tired of fans that want to review bomb everything. I'm just like, this movie looks so good. Please allow this movie to be successful. I really hope people come out to check it out. Good old Jack Daniels, because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Mr. Jackson Peterson is in the house, not to be mistaken for Peter Jackson. He says the trailer is sick. I totally agree with you there, man. Carter Matthews, good to see you. We got Michael in the house. What's up, Michael? Morgan Hutchinson is certainly here. He says my mic is echoey. Is it echoey?
A little bit. It's not like bad, but it's like there's a slight echo to it.
You know what? Hold on a second. Hold on.
Check. That better?
Oh, yeah, way better. Yeah.
I guess StreamYard does this thing sometimes where it literally changes up my my settings. So thank you for that, AJ. I wish I had seen that 10 minutes ago. Who else we got? Marcelino says my favorite trailer was Blue Beetle. Yeah, I think out of the two that we're going to discuss today, this definitely was my favorite. He says I was a little skeptical of the Blue Beetle suit because it looked a little too cheesy, but the trailer was awesome. Yeah, I think the trailer definitely. I don't want to say improved my thoughts. I mean, I always thought the set photos looked pretty dope, but the idea of actually being able to see it in action on a trailer, I thought worked out really well. I was kind of impressed with the suit. What about you, Stuart?
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I thought the suit looked just fine with the behind the scenes photos, and I kind of figured it was going to look even better when it was like actually like honest, when we saw it through the camera that we're supposed to see it through. And yeah, I was right. It looks not only better than the behind the scenes photos, but like just even more like just shiny, a lot more slick and everything. Just amazing, great costume.
Yeah, I totally agree. AJ says I'm so effing hyped. Watched the Blue Beetle trailer 30 times this morning. I believe it. I believe it.
Dang.
Marcelino says he hopes that the Blue Beetle has some connection to the Booster Gold show. Imagine Booster Gold talking about his friendship with Cord. Yeah, Stuart hopes to see a Ted Cord in that show. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Let's see here. Adam says his face being covered by the black stuff reminded me a lot of Venom from Spider-Man 3. Yeah, it definitely has that symbiotic feel when you see him transforming for the first time into the Blue Beetle. There was a pretty horrific shot of him like screaming and like the blackness coming across his face and stuff. It was pretty crazy. Let's see here. Any other comments? Enrique, Blue Beetle reminds me of Big Bad Beetleborgs from Saban. Nicole says, I think the heads up display will change depending on settings and scanners. I don't think that's the only one we're getting. A possibility, definitely a possibility for there, Nicole. And she does say that she believes that the voice of the Scarab sounds kind of like Rose Byrne. That's an interesting pickup. I'm kind of curious now to kind of go back into the casting list and see if Rose have been picked up onto this movie or not. Marcelino also says the Night Owl. That was the name of the Night Owl ship. He says that Night Owl is directly inspired by Ted Cord because Alan Moore wanted to use Charlton's characters for Watchmen, but DC wanted to use them and encourage them to create his own characters.
Yeah, he couldn't get the rights for those characters, so he had to like create them all from scratch.
What did you think about the Batman is a fascist line? Did you?
I thought it was funny. Feels like an opinion some people would have in real life,
Yeah, totally. Leave it up to George Lopez, right?
Oh, yeah.
Who's we got? Jordan in the house. He says the Extraction 2 trailer looks really cool. I'll have to check that out, man. I'll have to check that out. I did see that they did drop that. I don't think I ever finished the first one, honestly. So I might have to go back and check out the Extraction 1. But all right, guys. So we got Blue Beetle out of the way. Stuart, let's get into our MCU bag because it is, in fact, time to talk some Secret Invasion. Asking the question, who do you trust as Disney Plus and Marvel Studios gets ready for this event series, as they're certainly referring to it as, June 21st, ladies and gentlemen. So mark your calendars, June 21st. Secret Invasion is certainly here. And Stuart, this isn't the first trailer that we've gotten. This might be the official trailer that we've gotten. I think we had ourselves a teaser trailer a while back. And I think a lot of us were really impressed with like the tone, the seriousness in which this MCU project seemingly was taking itself. But now that we've gotten ourselves an official trailer here, I want to know your thoughts. How are you feeling about this trailer? Are you impressed with it? Is this everything that you wanted to see? Was it lukewarm for you? What are your thoughts on this Secret Invasion trailer?
I would definitely say it was a really good trailer. It looks like it's going to be a very solid show. I can't really say this got me excited though. It didn't really show me anything new. I mean, there was a brief moment where we get an implication that maybe some of the scrolls that we could be seeing in the show are actually like super scrolls. So that's pretty cool. But other than that, yeah, right there. That's what I was like kind of thinking of in my head. Other than that though, I can't say I'm any more hyped than I already was for it. Good trailer, but nothing really stood out to me that much. But yeah, what about you? Oh, you're muted.
I'm kind of in agreement with you. I'm kind of there on the same mentality. When I look at this trailer, I do think it is look. The purpose of any trailer is to certainly get you hyped or to certainly build that hype for what's to come. I don't necessarily think that trailer did that for me, but I think it's already because in my own way, I'm already anticipating this trailer. I'm already anticipating this show. Like they literally locked me in sort of on the first one. Like they set the tone for me. They let me know what an idea of what I was already gonna kind of get. And this just kind of feels like a replay.
Mhm.
Even though they gave us new images and things like that, if there's any takeaway from this trailer that does get me hyped, it probably is the tone setting. I dig the idea of like a spy espionage type of thriller. The way that it's filmed, the way that it's being shot, it feels probably significantly different than I feel like anything that I have seen from the Disney Plus shows so far. So for me, I'm certainly appreciative of that. This feels very sort of grown up MCU sort of material. And so for me, I feel like this is something I can truly sink my teeth in. Like when I look at this trailer, there are concepts. I don't want to say it feels like a ripoff of like Andor because it doesn't, but I just mean like the scope and the tone that Andor kind of set for Star Wars for doing something different and making us feel like, man, we're getting some really great character development. They're really sitting down some great monologues and dialogue type of thing. That's the type of like show that I'm thinking we're getting here with Secret Invasion. I'm not expecting a big explosion fest or a lot of costumes or anything like that. It just feels like it's going to be one of those underground spy espionage kind of thrillers, and I'm really here for it. Like I'm really excited for this series itself. But I got to admit, the trailer didn't necessarily do anything to be like, oh my God, it's almost here. You know what I mean? Some great shots, cool to see some characters, great to see that tone set once again. But yeah, it's just a good trailer, man. Just a good trailer that kind of already reinforced how I felt about this series.
Yeah, and I would say Andor is a good comparison because in terms of like this show's grounded level and the overall
Yes, the
tone and pacing
groundedness.
of it, that's definitely the vibe that I got from it. So I do like the idea of taking this kind of direction with an MCU show and having Nick Fury being the one that we're following through this. Something I really am intrigued about with this, and I think I mentioned the last time we talked about, with the first trailer, I love seeing a Nick Fury who doesn't really have anything going for him at the moment because
Hmm.
we're always so used to seeing Nick Fury literally have every asset you could possibly need for like every situation out there. And now we have a Nick Fury who seemingly doesn't trust anyone. And because of that, he has absolutely nothing to help him out. And he has everything, literally everything is possibly against him. Especially because we find out in this trailer, which I thought this was intriguing, that he's apparently the most wanted man in the United States at the moment. So, these type of storylines are really, really intriguing to me when there's corruption going on, but unfortunately you're just one man and you're trying to, prove this to a world that thinks that you're the bad guy. So I think that's something that it has going for it with the story that really excites me. And I can't wait to see like how he's able to basically I don't know. I can't wait to see how he's able to get out of this situation.
Yeah, it's like one man against the world type of mentality type of thing, trying to bring down this corrupt government or what else, or something that's certainly going on behind the scenes. But yeah, really feeling like you can only kind of depend on yourself. We do see some familiar faces in here. Let me see. We got Martin Freeman, I believe, as God, what was his name in something Ross? Martin Ross was his name. Martin Ross. What was his name in the uh
Uh,
in Black Panther?
I always forget
Is
it
it
is
Martin
something
Ross?
Ross
I
because
think it is Martin Ross. I could be wrong. Tell me, guys. Tell me in the comment section if you can. We also got Amelia Clark here, who, believe it or not, they actually just dropped a Vanity Fair article on Secret Invasion that we were actually going to
Everett Ross.
Everett Ross. Thank you so much. the Vanity Fair dropped an article, kind of previewing Secret Invasion, and I will tell you there, they do say fair warning. The showrunners don't consider the following a spoiler, but some fans might. So spoiler warning for you fans out there, just to kind of go over this Vanity Fair when it comes to Amelia Clark's character. Samuel L. Jackson points out a scene from the 2019 Captain Marvel in which Fury witnesses a reunion between Mendelssohn's Talos, who we see here, and his long lost Skrull family aboard a space station orbiting Earth. He says, "Remember when Ben was there with his wife and daughter? She's the little Skrull girl, all grown up now."
Oh,
So this is, in fact, Talos's daughter. And really, the premise behind it is the idea that it's like, look, Nick Fury and you guys promised us to be able to find a new home world for ourselves. It's been since the 90s and nothing has changed. And now you got yourself a group of rogue sort of scrolls that feel some type of way, that feel like they were failed. And that's Nick Fury and Talos kind of, I would assume, gave up on them. And now we've got Amelia Clark's character, along with this gentleman that you see Talos confronting here, as really the leaders of this rebellion, if you will, or at least this infiltration, this secret invasion that's certainly happening here. So interesting. I think that's actually pretty heavy stuff, if you ask me, Stuart, right? Like, they made a promise to us back in the 90s. They've taken 20 plus years to be able to find us a home. How long should we keep waiting and seeing some people kind of get tired and wanting to maybe take a home for themselves here on Earth? But I just find that pretty fascinating stuff.
yeah. They're like, hey, we got a planet right here. The people living on here are already destroying it. Let's just take it from them.
And if anything, I think it's even more personal, the fact that this is the man's daughter,
Mhm.
So I think that certainly carries certainly a lot of weight to go on top of what you already mentioned about what Nick Fury is certainly having to face himself. I thought this was a really cool shot in the trailer. To me, this just looks like these are all the bodies that the Skrulls have, in fact, sort of infiltrated and keeping in like hibernation or something like that, while they pretend to be these people. Who knows how long this certainly goes on for, but that's kind of the vibes that I'm getting here. You think this is what this is?
Yeah. I am very curious though why why they're being kept alive, and it makes me wonder, like, maybe the scrolls, while their overall intentions, or maybe while their
Slaves.
overall goal isn't, slaves is a possibility. Yeah, that makes sense. But there is also a possibility that maybe while their actions aren't the best, maybe they're not necessarily fully evil, but hard to say. But unless it turns out that that's the reason that they're keeping people alive as slaves, then never mind, I take that back.
It's like, hey, we took the world from you. We've taken over. Now we want you to work for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've captured you. Now you got to do what we ask. And then, yeah, you kind of mentioned this. Don Cheadle is here as Rhodey. He is, in fact, the one that lets Nick Fury know, like, hey, you're like literally the most wanted man on the planet right now. And I do think that they have mentioned that Secret Invasion does tie into the bigger picture that is Armor Wars, that is going from being a Disney Plus series to an actual film. So Secret Invasion very much is a lead into another upcoming movie now in Armor Wars. But I've been reading that Don Cheadle is apparently the right-hand man now to the President of the United States in this Vanity Fair project, or Vanity Fair article, that they talk a little bit more about Secret Invasion. So Don Cheadle definitely getting that promotion, definitely having a much bigger role. And if anything, it makes me wonder where else we're going to see Don Cheadle at, outside of Armor Wars and in here. Because last time I checked, we got good old Harrison Ford going to be playing our President of the United States in Captain America, along with Thunderbolts. And so I do wonder if Don Cheadle's keeping himself busy with some cameos in those upcoming movies, also as the president's right-hand man. But I love that they've allowed Don Cheadle to still have a significant part to play in the MCU overall. But what do you think about that?
That is interesting, because the last time he talked with
With Ross, right?
Yeah, they didn't exactly end things on the best of terms. He literally says, "Hand over Captain America, or you're going to be, or we're." I can't remember. It was basically a threat that he was going to be, just as wanted in the United States as Captain America, and then right there he just cut him off. So I am curious how he goes from that to suddenly being the president's right hand man.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson says this is a different kind of roadie, a political animal, and not, a guy who has a special suit. He's the president's right hand man in this. So he's the guy that makes a lot of decisions, some good, some bad. So I'm
Ooh.
like, ooh, roadie. Roadie's role is definitely evolving into something bigger than I did not see coming here. So yeah, maybe. Yeah, it should be interesting to see how him and the president certainly get along, especially considering their past. But yeah, I will say
I
this in
wonder if
regards.
oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Stuart. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I wonder if Nick Fury at some point will use the whole "What would Tony Stark think of you right now?" If like Rhodey does something that pisses Nick Fury off, I feel like
Oh
that's
shit.
what Nick Fury would say as a reply.
Yo, I cannot wait to see that dialogue now. But yeah, I will say this, going back to one of the scenes you brought up, I am kind of curious if this is like a tease at a Super Scroll or certainly what's to come. I'm kind of curious if all the scrolls are capable of doing this. I don't, or unless there's something special about them as they've evolved since the 90s. I honestly have no clue. But we definitely see some military forces in here. We see about maybe one angry scroll in this. I think that's probably what was missing for me. I think I needed to see more scrolls in here. And I guess also, again, this is being adapted from a comic book. And so in my head, I'm also replaying sort of what the comic book was like and just thinking to myself, man, I hope we get to see some costumed heroes in here. But I don't think it's going to be on that level. I think they're definitely keeping this as grounded as they possibly can. But who certainly knows? And it does make me beg the question. And Stuart, I'm going to ask you this too. Is Chloe Bennett and Clark Gregg in this series as Daisy Johnson and Agent Coulson? Do you think they're popping up in here?
I really, really hope so. I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but I feel like if there was ever an opportunity to bring in characters from Agents of Shield, this is the perfect one. And if Marvel, loves their fans as much as they claim, they should go for it. They should just pull the trigger on this. They don't have to confirm Agents of Shield as canon, They could still say Agents of Shield takes place in a variant universe. But, you just because it's not canon, that doesn't mean those characters can't exist within the MCU. So come on, Marvel. Come on. You love your Agents of Shield fans. You know you do. Give them this little treat.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself too, like, man, I would love to see both of those just in this sort of setting in the MCU. You know what I'm saying? Like just in this espionage type of thrill. I mean, look, it's very natural to them coming from Agents of Shield. So I do feel like you could easily plug them in here and they would certainly knock it out of the park. So look, I'm in agreement with you. I think this, if there is any opportunity, any time to have done this, and I feel like they've had opportunities in the past and they haven't pulled the trigger, this is as like wide open as an opportunity to introduce some of these Agents of Shield characters if you wanted to, and still have it on the grounded level that they're certainly going for. I think it's going to happen personally, Stuart. I don't know if we're going to get both of them, but I have a feeling one of them at least will pop up in this. So I personally will predict that it will happen. I will be perfectly okay if I'm wrong in that sense, though. But man, Marvel, you got to give the Agents of Shield fans something, please. So we'll see if this is going to be it. But yeah, I think we're in agreement in regards to Secret Invasion. Good trailer, but nothing that has done anything to add to the hype that I think we were already feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see if any of you guys are saying anything in here. I will say the comments are a lot quieter when it comes to Secret Invasion. We got Dino Knights. AJ says, please, I hope Chloe Bennett appears. We need AOS to finally be canon to the MCU. I mean, I'm in agreement with you, man, honestly. Enrique says, can't wait for Secret Invasion in June after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 releases in theaters May, 1 month away. May and June. Okay, good. We got some great MCU content, certainly back to back. Adam, we'll get to that comment in just a second, Adam. And then AJ says, yes, we need Chloe Bennett, Nick Fury, and Coulson already exist in the MCU, so why not? Yeah, I think the idea of bringing Agent Coulson back, I think, would be pretty cool. I mean, talk about the idea of just being so deep undercover that they literally killed you off in Avengers and you kept him secret this whole entire time. I mean, talk about a great reveal. Like, oh, Agent Coulson's been alive this whole entire time.
I think it'd be great too for non-Agents of Shield fans because they would probably see him and expect him to be a Skrull, and be
Ooh.
and then that could be like kind of a the big shock is that he's not a Skrull, he's actually alive.
Yeah, that would be pretty. That would definitely be a great surprise for the general audience members. But yeah, guys, look, let us know your thoughts. What do you guys think about this second Secret Invasion trailer that we got? Did this build your anticipation level even more? Did it just kind of already establish why you were hyped about this series in the first place? And do you have any moments from this trailer that you guys certainly want to go ahead and talk about? Definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. There was another character that was highlighted in here. I think Olivia Colman, who I think is absolutely just a fantastic actress in her own right. Anytime I've seen Olivia Colman on screen, I wish I had some photos that I had pulled from the trailer, but I didn't, unfortunately. But they did say that Olivia Colman is actually going to be an MI6 agent, who's motivated to protect England's national security interests during the crisis. The question is, with everybody in this story, is whether her stated goals are the truth. Samuel L. Jackson says it's somebody that you've never seen her play before. She's cold-blooded and just relishes being that person. And yeah, I think Olivia Colman's just gonna murder this role, man. So I'm excited to see her. We even got to see Colby Smulders in here also, so definitely bringing back some of Nick Fury's most trusted, if you will, when it comes to Maria Hill. So I'm fascinated to see what she gets herself into.
Yeah.
All right, guys, and then just get this question here from Adam. He says, "Is it me or do critics always give Guardians of the Galaxy for being comedic and serious, but they trash other films like Shazam?" I mean, I don't know. Critics are funny these days, man. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think it just depends on whether or not the comedy makes them laugh. I guess the comedy in Guardians made them laugh, but the comedy in Shazam didn't. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I personally still have not seen Fury of the Gods. It is on my list. So yeah, my friend Jonathan just asked me if I had checked it out. I was like, nope, unfortunately I have not. But I still plan on it though, because I really want to talk about it, man. So so we'll see.
I still thought it was an enjoyable movie. Again, not as good as the first one, but I'd say it's worth a watch.
Well, hopefully Blue Beetle will certainly do much better than Shazam certainly did at the box office. And again, with the momentum that it certainly has after these trailers that we wind up getting, definitely a possibility. But again, these movies can't be successful and we can't see these characters again unless you go out and support these films and these series, guys. So definitely go ahead and check out these two projects in the near future. But I think other than that, Stuart, I think that's it for us, man. In regards to, actually, do you want to talk some stories? You want to talk some stories real quick, or you got to go?
Stories. Do we have any good stories?
I'm gonna see what I've posted so far today on Facebook. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's just go a little bit longer here and see what has happened in the world.
Super. I guess I can make a quick honorable mention too.
Oh,
so, recommendation if you got a PS5. I think it's on PS4 too, but maybe I'm wrong. Just started playing the Resident Evil 4 remake, and it is freaking amazing. So Resident Evil 4, if you guys don't know, is my all-time favorite video game, and the remake is basically everything I love about Resident Evil 4, but on steroids.
I actually read an article, I think today on comicbook.com about them getting ready to do another remake.
Oh,
I think for 5, if I'm not mistaken. Nah, not so much. Okay.
Come on, Code Veronica X. That's the next Resident Evil game that needs to be remade.
Nice. Let's see here. All right, so another story that I thought was pretty interesting. We'll stick with Disney here real quick. Disney announcing a Lilo and Stitch movie. They actually have found themselves their Lilo. It says Disney has found its Lilo. Newcomer Maya Kealoha has been cast in Lilo and Stitch. Says Dean Fleischer Camp, the filmmaker behind Indie Darling and Best Animated Feature Oscar nominee Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, is directing the feature that is intended to be a major release on Disney Plus. That's interesting. This is a
Oh,
Disney Plus movie. That's odd. Do you find that odd, Stuart?
a little bit. I feel like, looking at Lilo and Stitch, that's a movie that has a lot of sci-fi elements to it that I feel like would be really expensive. So you'd think that would be like in theaters.
Yeah, that's odd for me, especially just based off of the the work or some of the things that Bob Iger has kind of talked about over the past couple of weeks of really changing its focus. You know what I mean? From Disney Plus and streaming to really the theatrical side of things. So I honestly would have thought that this would have been in on the big screen. Maybe that's something that can still change as the months go along. But it says it's set for a major release on Disney Plus. So yeah, I'm a little bit baffled by this. I felt like this would be almost a, I want to say a home run automatically, because Disney can be a little bit off and on when they're live action adaptations. But I for sure thought people would love to see this on the big screen instead of on streamers. But maybe I'm missing something here, Stuart.
I'll say this though. So uh I'm already like kind of, mid about seeing this movie just because, again, live action Disney remakes. Yeah. But if they somehow pull off making Stitch a practical effect, like either a costume or a puppet, my hype will go from here to like through the roof. If they try to pull that off, more than likely it's just going to be a generic CG character. But come on, Disney, if you want to make me happy, make Stitch a like an actual like thing that's in the movie.
I think that'd be pretty cool, honestly. I would say, go find us some Jim Henson puppet creators, and let's go crazy and see what you can kind of create on that front. So I'm with you there, Stuart. I would love to see that more practical effect. Let me see here. I want to bring up a comment real quick, but before I do, I want to make sure that I get these downloaded properly, because was it Nicole? Nicole says, so funny. The MCU dropped the poster for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 the same day as the Blue Beetle trailer. And look, yeah, I will say this. I do feel like there are certain levels of competition, that certainly arise when it comes to Marvel and DC. Maybe there are moments when it's like, maybe we want to grab some of your attention away also. And I think even James Gunn today released the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So yeah, definitely some competition today on the internet between Marvel and DC. And here are some of the posters that Nicole is talking about here. Usually they always give you like 5 to 10 different posters for all like the movie theater formats you could possibly see this movie in. This one is for Real 3D. We got this one here if you want to check it out in 4DX. I don't even know what that is anymore. We've got filmed for IMAX, so check it out on the IMAX screen. And I think they even have one for a Screen X, which I don't even know what that is either, unless that's the one that's like the wraparound movie screen. Have you seen that, Stuart? The movie screens, that like 3 screens in the
Oh,
movie theater. Have you seen that?
I have heard of that, and I've heard they're terrible.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
wonder if
because
the ratio is just completely off. This is the Screen X poster that I was referring to. So yeah, I'm just like, the image that I saw was like one screen in the center, but then on the side of the theaters is like 2 other screens. So it's just like, it's like they set up all their screens together. It's super weird. I don't know how people watch the movie that way.
I think it was Your Movie Sucks that talked about it because he saw Venom that way. And yeah, the most annoying part about it is that if you're watching a movie that isn't fully filmed on IMAX cameras, it'll like change. So it'll go from just covering one screen to then like during the wide shots, it'll cover all 3
Oh,
screens, but then it'll go back. And it's
that's
just,
what they
I feel
do.
like that'd be
Okay.
even more annoying.
That would be pretty annoying, yeah, honestly. Let's see here. What other news dropped today? Oh, speaking of the, and hopefully this doesn't get us. Can I pull this up anywhere?
I did a lot of my growing up.
Hold on, let me mute this real quick. All right, I'm just going to bring this up here real quick, Stuart. The next one we got for you guys does come to us from Disney. And it seems as though the hierarchy of power in the Disney universe is set to change, ladies and gentlemen, as The Rock Dwayne Johnson has officially announced a Moana live action adaptation movie. He's actually going to be portraying his character that he voiced in Moana. And yeah, he's made an official announcement. He does say that, listen, it's in early development, but Moana is getting a live action remake, and they've got him on board. Now he says this is a fairly early production, so I'm thinking maybe another 10 years, similar to how long it took Black Adam to actually be released. I have no idea, but you can check this out over on our Facebook page. Disney and both The Rock have announced this via his announcement that yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson will be in the Moana live action adaptation as Disney finally early in this process though.
And that's not an April Fool's joke?
No, that's not it. It dropped today. That dropped today.
Oh, okay.
Why do you
Interesting.
think it was
Just
a joke?
well, just because it seems so early for like, because usually like Disney will at least wait a
Right.
few years.
Bro, didn't we just talked about this for How to Train Your Dragon, right? Like, I was like, dude, the last movie came out like literally 5 years ago. Like, you're really trying to remake this movie already?
But that's DreamWorks.
Right. And so it's a surprise. It did surprise me too, because I literally just watched this movie like maybe 4 or 5 months ago with a girlfriend. She threw it on one day. We were checking it out together, and so I just found it funny that it's like, man, you literally just released this movie several years ago, and already you're making a remake of it. But yeah, the hierarchy of power thing I added. He didn't really say that in his announcement, but I just thought based off of how his attempt at DC certainly went, I'm like, bro, I don't need any other announcements from you right now.
Tried so hard to take over DC, that didn't work out. So he's like,
watch out,
fine.
Disney.
I'll try to take over Disney. I'll see how that goes.
Yeah, watch out, Disney. But it was a pretty cool little announcement. He had both his daughters in there. They even handed him, like, let me see if I can find it in this announcement. Oh yeah, you guys might remember this. Here, let me if you guys did. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and bring this in.
That special thing that Daddy needs. Wow, you guys are Daddy's daughters. You are so strong. Thank you guys so much.
Look, they got him his fucking that gigantic hook.
Thank you guys so much.
Do you see that shit?
That's pretty cool.
That's fucking cool, isn't it? I will admit,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, they made a life-size one for this dude. I mean, even The Rock looks like he's struggling to carry this thing. But yeah, man, hey, look, the movie itself was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed Moana. So the idea of them actually, you know, I would definitely check it out for sure. But certainly not something that's on my must-see list. But I thought that was pretty interesting to see The Rock making an announcement for Disney.
Yeah, I absolutely love the songs from that movie.
Yeah, it's a great one. They definitely have some good ones for sure. I thought this was another interesting topic here this week that they wind up dropping today, that we got ourselves a possible new Street Fighter movie coming, or at least a Street Fighter project. Street Fighter film and TV rights go to Legendary. So Legendary has officially picked up the Street Fighter rights as of today. It says Legendary is ready to unleash a sonic boom, with the studio acquiring the film and TV rights to the classic beat 'em up game Street Fighter. The studio will work with the video game company Capcom on future projects. You know, they talk about the franchise a little bit here. It is known for characters such as Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, and M. Bison. Hollywood has made moves on Street Fighter in the past. They talk about the 1994 movie, along with and I forgot about this one, in 2009, Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li, that starred Kristen Kruk from Smallville. I forgot she was in that movie. It says this deal for Street Fighter comes as video game adaptions have found success in recent years. So yeah, it looks like they're trying to prioritize it for the big screen and for TV. Look, I feel like video game franchises right now, Stuart, people are mining them as much as they possibly can. I think they've seen the success of a couple ones. I think maybe Sonic kind of started the trend like, okay, so you can make a successful video game movie out of this. Maybe even Detective Pikachu. And I feel like the floodgates have now opened, right? We got ourselves a Last of Us series. We got ourselves a God of War series that's certainly in the works. I think we've heard some things off and on about Assassin's Creed. Amazon just picked up the rights to Tomb Raider also, right? So a lot of these IPs are definitely being picked up. It feels like that's the next batch of movies that everybody's going to start tackling. How do you feel about a company like Legendary taking over Street Fighter? You think they've got what it takes to make this happen?
I mean, I really like what Legendary did with Godzilla. So yeah,
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
say I'd give him a chance for Street Fighter. I feel like Street Fighter wouldn't be that hard of a game to pull off into a movie. But then again, they still haven't made a good Street Fighter movie, so maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like it'd be a pretty easy movie to pull off, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, you would think so.
You would
But
think.
look, we are in a much different time period now, right? Yeah, I just saw a trailer for a movie called God, what was that movie? Zodiac, Knights of the Zodiac, I think is what it was called.
Dude, that looks really cool.
I'm just like, give me my Dragon Ball movie now. Like, yeah,
Yes.
there's no excuse at this point. This movie, I was just special effects wise, the movie just looks that incredibly good. I don't know what the story's gonna be like, but we have just come so far since a lot of these old debacles that we've had that it's like now is time for a second run at them, if you ask me. And so right up there with Dragon Ball Z, I hope Street Fighter can become that successful. And we don't even need probably that type of special effects for Street Fighter. Just get you some legit martial artists, some great storytellers, and boom. I don't see, why is this so hard, Stuart?
Yeah. It's also funny you bring up Dragon Ball because 2009, yeah, that was the year where Street Fighter fans and Dragon Ball fans got disappointed on the big screen.
95?
No, 2009.
Oh, 2009. Okay, I was like, oh my God, that came out the same year?
Yeah. Evolution and the Street Fighter, that Street Fighter movie came out 2009.
My God.
Both of them were just absolutely terrible.
My God. And then last but not least, Stuart, we'll end up on this note so that we actually have some stuff to talk about this upcoming Sunday. One of the other topics that we've talked about here, and this is one that's for you Power Ranger fans out there, if there's anybody still watching us. I thought this was worth talking about. Amy Jo Johnson. Variety report came out that the original Pink Ranger, Power Ranger, Amy Jo Johnson, writing a new comic book series. It's My Version. This is an exclusive interview that Variety.com wound up doing with Amy Jo Johnson. And look, I'm not gonna lie, Stuart. This came as no surprise to me. Just because of the fact that I think we talked about this, or at least I talked about this on an episode of A Plus More Phenomenal sometime back in 2021. I thought late 2021, maybe sometime early 2022. I can't remember when the news article came out, but I thought that they hinted at the idea that Amy Jo Johnson and her boyfriend were writing a Power Ranger comic book, but because of the fact that I hadn't heard anything about it in such a long time, I honestly just forgot all about it until Variety let us know that, hey, she's got this new comic book series coming. I'm like, oh, that's right. I think we have talked about this before. They say it's been 30 years since Mighty Morphin Power Rangers premiered, but Amy Jo Johnson, who played the original Pink Ranger, isn't finished with the franchise quite yet. And Stuart, we've talked about some of her quotes in the past. She has definitely been very cryptic with some of her wording and messaging as to why she wasn't necessarily going to be in the 30th anniversary season, not really giving us a direct answer, but allowing a lot of people to certainly speculate and definitely assume. And I'm sure you remember some of those comments, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And so we finally might have an answer. According to her, It says Johnson will be writing a brand new Power Ranger book series with publisher Boom Studios. Debuting the series next year, Johnson collaborated with her partner and director Matt Hodson to co-write it. They also say here that she recalls coming up with the idea before the pandemic hit in 2020. She says, I was daydreaming about it and mentioned it to my boyfriend. Why don't you try to write it as a comic book? Johnson tells Variety. We had all the time on our hands, so we daydreamed up this entire comic book series, knowing the 30th anniversary was coming. She says the news comic series is something that Johnson has been elated about for quite some time. She says it has been so hard to sit on this and not talk about it for a year, 3 really. And she promises that this new series would be different from the original in the sense that it's my version, is what she says. She says for inspiration, she went back and watched the original episodes for the first time. She says, I honestly had never watched MMPR. After leaving the series, Johnson says she just moved on from Power Rangers and had no idea about the fan outrage that ensued. She says, I didn't know that they were upset. There was no internet. There was no social media. The world was so much different back then in 95. She says working on the set of Power Rangers had its flaws. The series was non-union and she made roughly $700 an episode. Oblivious to unions and the benefits that she could have received, Johnson admits that she was just excited to be working as an actor and was getting paid more than I ever been paid on a job in a week. I matured, grew up, and found out what was safe and normal. And they go on to talk a little bit about her career. And then they finally address the idea of Once and Always, the upcoming reunion film on Netflix. Speaking with Variety, Johnson says there were a bunch of different factors that came into play. One of them being I was working on other projects, and I also have a 14-year-old. I stopped acting and switched my focus to writing and directing almost 10 years ago. I can give you a list of excuses. And I think those are very logical and reasonable excuses, if you ask me, Stuart. I mean, we have seen her do a lot of acting, especially a lot of directing lately. She did just recently direct an episode of Superman and Lois, if I'm not mistaken. And for somebody like myself, who is a parent of just literally like almost a 1.5-year-old, the idea of having a 14-year-old, yeah, I'm sure they probably keep you hella busy that a lot of people that don't have kids may not fully be able to understand. But it definitely seems as though Amy Jo Johnson definitely had a lot of reasons to certainly not come back. She says, it just didn't occur to me to join the reunion because I was so focused on this comic book and telling this story. She says, while she might not have said yes to the Power Ranger reunion, it is clear that the franchise still holds a special place in her heart. She says, JDF was family and the whole franchise will always be very special to me. I can't wait to see it. This is my thank you. This is my love letter to the fans. It's just been incredible to have these kids who are now adults support me through all of my career changes. So, Stuart, this makes all the sense in the world for me, man. I really have no pushback to Amy Jo Johnson in this regards, but what do you have to say?
Oh yeah, no, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what she has to write. It is interesting that she had this interest in writing a Power Ranger comic, even though she hasn't like watched the show since, or like even, back when she worked on it. So I am kind of curious to see what her take on the franchise is going to look like in this upcoming comic. I'm also curious if it's connected with the Boom Studios comics or if it's completely its own like separate thing. But yeah, in terms of like, the stuff when it comes to Once and Always, no, nothing against her not wanting to return for that. Totally get it. Life gets you. I just think that someone needs to tell her to not go on Twitter is all. Because she makes some really bizarre tweets on Twitter about the special and almost kind of comes off as I'm too good for Power Rangers, but how dare Power Rangers move on without me type of mind. That's what they come off as. I'm not saying that's what they actually were meant to be. I'm just saying that's what they come off as. And to be fair, that might be more Twitter's fault than anyone else, because when you're limited to like very few characters and you have to try to make your tweets small and to the point, it may sound like one thing in your head and come off as something completely different. And I think that's kind of the case, honestly, with Amy Jo Johnson's tweets. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this. I'll definitely at least check out the first issue when it comes out for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think if anything, I think it was really the first tweet that she put out that everybody was like, "What is she talking about? What? Like the hypocrisy? Like
Exactly.
I definitely remember addressing it for sure. It's just like it's just not a good look. Like even if that's not what you meant to say, like perception, it's just not a good look. You know what I mean? And since then, she certainly has addressed it without giving it away, letting people know, hey, look, man, ain't none of your beeswax. Why? I'm like, look, she's absolutely right, right? Like there are certain things she definitely does not have to tell us. We're definitely not entitled to certainly know why she's certainly returning and not, but she definitely was ready to go ahead and at least reveal it to us in her own time. And I think I think she always had intentions and plans on letting us know what she was working on and why she didn't join, but definitely in her own time. So, everybody celebrates reunions in different ways, and this is certainly her way of celebrating Power Rangers. And I think for me, look, it's just like another gift to Power Ranger fans. Hasbro's already spoiling us with a 30th anniversary special film, 30th season in Cosmic Fury. Now Boom Studios is doing something special for Power Ranger fans when it comes to the 30th anniversary of having Amy Jo Johnson write a series. Yeah, man, I just think we continue to get spoiled here. And I'm not going to count out the idea that she might have another secret up her sleeve for once and always. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that maybe there's some ADR work in there at least to maybe hear her voice, even if she couldn't have been there. So we'll see if there's an additional surprise from her. But look, in today's day and age, Stuart, you got to lie to everybody, man. You can't let any secret slip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially because like if that is the case, if she does do ADR work, or if she has like a Skype cameo or something like that, it makes sense that you don't want to hype that up, because then that's going to really disappoint people when they actually see it. However, if you don't tell anyone anything and it's just in there, no one's going to be disappointed by it. They're just going to be like, oh, cool. And they gave us this little cherry on top.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So we'll see how it turns out. But I thought that would be a fun little couple articles to kind of go over as to what's been going on a little bit towards the end of last week, as of today. But if anything, as of right now, we still are set for episode of A Plus Hero Report. I promise I'll definitely have a babysitter this weekend, so you guys can definitely expect us Sunday afternoon. But Stuart, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they find you, sir?
You guys can follow me at TurboStew01 over on Twitter and on Instagram. And then also for all of you Power Ranger fans out there, I do have a fun little video coming. It should be out by Friday. I'm going to try to get it out for the weekend because I think that's when it'll get the most views. But I do have a video coming out basically talking about the upcoming Power Ranger special Once and Always. And I think you guys will definitely enjoy it.
I was gonna say, if anything, maybe drop it Saturday if you can.
Saturday?
I just want to be able to give you some time for Superman and Lois. Do they have a new episode this week?
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow.
Okay, so yeah, so yeah. If anything, if you do get it done this week, feel free to drop it on Saturday if you can.
Sounds good.
All right, awesome. And guys, if you want to follow us on social media, right up here at the top at A Plus Opinions, very active over on Twitter, Instagram, and our main page, the Facebook page. Check us out over there, guys. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It definitely does go a long way. But other than that, we'll see you throughout the week with other content and other videos. But if not, we'll catch you Sunday live for A Plus Hero Report. Until then, do us a big favor as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.